I started out just a regular person who just had a dream to move and
Mm-hmm.
to feel like I felt connected in my own skin. And that led to one thing and then a baby step. And then, it's just every year you're picking up a new skill set, whether it's swimming or cycling or doing a 5K, you do something new every year that keeps you excited about it.
So, welcome to the Strong in Every Season podcast. And I would give you a cute intro, but you know what? This is our second time doing our first episode, so we're just going to jump right in and hope that the audio doesn't suck this time. All my fault, not Jesse's, because that's life. So, hey, Jesse, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Trisha, it's good to be with you.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yes, we're
Yeah.
learning so much, you guys. So thanks to everyone for hanging in there with us on developing this new podcast and this new format where we have real conversations.
Oh, yes, real conversations. And our conversation that you will never hear was really good. It just, you couldn't hear my side of it. And so then Jessie kind of sounded like she was talking to herself. And
I'm used to that though. I talk to myself every day.
I mean, it's totally fine, except it just sounded weird. Anyway, so let's kick this off by Jessie, I would love for you to kind of explain how you got to be into fitness. We'll start with what initially drew you to getting healthy and starting on that journey.
Yeah, so that's like so many things just popped into my head. There was probably like the early days of in my 20s before I had kids. And then later, after Thomas was a year old, I decided I wanted to go back to the YMCA and I wanted to, lose the weight after the baby. Thomas is now 18 years old. So that marks 17 years that I've been actively involved in almost daily fitness, some sort of activity every single day. So yeah, it's been a 17-year journey for me.
And what made you decide that that was the time that you were ready to care for yourself in that way?
I think it was probably like I couldn't go on another day not caring for myself.
Mm.
Like in the ways that I was sleep deprived, had two toddlers. I had a 2-year old and an infant. I was nursing him, doing all the things I think that moms do, young moms. It's just that like when your mental health deteriorates to the point that like you can't go on. So the best thing about the YMCA was they had childcare. So
Hmm.
I could come in every day and up to 2 hours I could have to myself. So for us, that was a great deal.
Yeah.
I could have my mental health break, get some cardio. I probably did that for about a year of just taking the spin classes there,
Hmm.
until I finally decided to start also watching what I ate. And when I got the exercise and the eating part together on the same day at the same time, the weight finally came off. So it took a couple years.
That's the hard part, isn't it? Is to get the diet and the exercise going at the same time. Like I can be really good, and I'm not a fitness trainer. We haven't really dived into that. I'm just a regular person going through the motions. Jesse's the fitness coach, the expert here. I'm just the person who takes her classes and does the best I can. But for me, sometimes I'm really good at and I'm really in the groove. I've got my schedule down. I'm really good at it. But the food is always hard to get that balance right for whatever reason, or vice versa. Sometimes I'm really good about getting the right food to eat, but then it's getting up and moving. It's hard for me to find the balance. It's a lot of work, you
Yeah,
know?
it's so much work. And
Yeah.
I think that like even things we knew, we forget we knew that. So sometimes it's hard
Hmm.
to like get that momentum going. But what I can tell you is that like I've made enough mistakes over the years to have to have yo-yoed myself, Right now I'm in the 160s, but last year I was in the 180s. And I think life has to kind of just be lifing sometimes. And when you don't have enough mental energy to do the meal prep and to get up every day at 5 a.m., sometimes you're just caring for your basic needs, and that's
Mm.
okay. That just means that it's a season of life. And like we were saying at the beginning, this is about being strong in all the seasons. When,
Absolutely.
I'm almost 50, you're a decade younger than me, and we've got
Mhm.
people that are in our community that work out with us in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. So it's about trying to stay healthy. But yeah, the whole food thing,
It's hard.
what I've determined though is I'm motivated about 2 days out of the week. 2 days, okay? And if you
Yes.
can do this on the 2 days when you feel fully rested, that's why a lot of us do it on like a Saturday or a Sunday.
Mm.
You're fully rested, you've got the groceries. Try to just do little bursts of a little bit of meal prep that'll get cover you for 3 days. And with the exercise part of it, investing in sleep is usually an investment in the next day of exercise.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I know for me, as far as exercise goes, if I plan that I'm going to work out, like I have to set out my clothes the night before and and not the cute clothes or the whatever. Right now I'm not looking cute. I am cold, so that's this. But like I have to set out the sports bra, the workout pants. I have to get even the weights, the equipment I'm going to use. I have to have that ready and like in my face where I'm going to maybe trip over it. So that way I'll be like, oh, right, I'm going to work out today. If I don't have those things there, I'm
Yes.
probably not going to do it. Like, I'm just.
Right. Right. And like I think we are all guilty of that.
Hmm.
And like we are only human. So if you have your clothes laid out, you're more likely to succeed in the morning. Like the old cliche applies, if you plan to fail, you fail to plan.
Yeah, right.
So laying out your clothes is good. Setting up the coffee pot the night before
Yeah.
helps me so I can get up, turn on the coffee pot, make my collagen coffee.
Hmm.
And just the more routine you can get in, the more that you wake up and someday you're not even going to have to think about it, Trisha. You're going to remember that when I wake up at some point in the first 2 hours of my day, I work out.
You know what's interesting about this though? Like I think about how I parent my son. And I tell him like get everything ready the night before when you have to go to school the next day cuz that way you don't have to run around the house like where did I put this? Where's that? Have everything ready so you don't have to stress the next day. And so it's great advice for me, but I am so good at giving it to him that I don't. You know how it's like we're so good at parenting our kids that we forget to take that advice for us? Do you know what I
Right.
mean?
But like what you just said was so important. We treat others with that kind of respect and kindness and advice, and you could easily tell me how to fix my own life.
Mm.
We do this all the time when we hang up the phone, when we're not taping it. We give each other as friends great advice on, have you considered this? So when we start giving ourselves that respect, like it's a promise we made to ourselves. You would never break a promise you made to me or to your son or to your husband. So
Right.
keep the promises to yourself that you make on a today's Thursday, whatever you kind of go to sleep with your heart of what you want to get accomplished the next day, make sure you get up and do that so you're, not cheating yourself.
Well, you know what's so interesting, and I'm sure you can relate to this, but it's different because your job is fitness. Like that's
Yeah.
your job. My job
Yeah.
is not fitness. But like I can go to bed and think, okay, these are the things I need to do tomorrow for my job, my family,
Yeah.
whatever. But I don't really ever think about me on that list. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think about me as like what do I need to do for me tomorrow? I think about what do I need to do for this job? What do I need to do? Like what meeting do I have tomorrow? What does Kellen have to do at school tomorrow? What's my husband? Like what do I have to plan for everything else? Do you struggle with that? Do you struggle with that?
Always, all the
Mhm.
time. I think all of us do. I actually think that's a universal. As women, we know we're built differently because we're the ones that has to care for the family, to create the nest. There's certain things that like even though I'm super like feminist, can
Mhm.
do whatever I want to in life. I also feel like I know I was great at caring for those kids,
Sure.
and I was able to to parent them. But I think when we start to treat ourselves with that kind of respect and make sure we're the top priority. It's not selfish. I'm just telling you, it's not selfish to put yourself up here because then you have more energy sustainable for the rest of the day that you can give more to Kellen, you can give
Mhm.
more to the fam,
Mhm.
and you're also eating better. So you feel better inside. And like a happy mom is a good mom. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what it is that you need to do to make yourself happy.
Mhm.
That's going to be in the for the long term a better parent example is being a happy person that puts themselves first.
Well, I think that's a whole topic we could do. We could probably talk for an hour on is like how our behaviors, our habits, like speak more than our words do to our kids or the people around us. Because like you and I have talked about the messages we send to our kids without knowing it. Like I think you said one time you were eating pizza one day and your kids were like shocked that you were eating pizza and you were like, "What am I saying? Like what does that mean?" And I had a similar thing with my son, which I didn't, again, this is something we could talk about another time, but like body image, I didn't think I was going to have that with my son because
Yep.
boys, you think more about a girl thing. I know I have body image issues. But like boys, you don't think about it as much, but man, he hit like adolescence and started thinking like, "Oh, well, somebody so and so said I was chubby. He's not chubby." So and so like all these things and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, like I did not realize
Yeah.
we these things and like what am I saying? Like am I perpetuating this in the things I say, you know?"
Sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, there comes times and key moments and memories when you realize they are watching me. It's not
Mm.
always what we say to do, but it's what we do that
Mhm.
actually is the example. And like, my daughter, she doesn't want a thing to do with exercise. She's like, "Mommy, I'm walking so much across campus." She rides her bike,
And
she
that's
walks.
exercise though.
Yeah,
That
it's
counts.
exercise. But like she's not interested in me being the fitness expert. Same thing with my son.
Of
He
course
doesn't
not.
think he's a, 18-year-old in wrestling, wants to, be beefy and muscular, and he doesn't think I know anything about sports or
Oh my
athletics.
gosh,
I
that's
know.
so funny. Are you just like, this is my job? Like,
They don't even think I have had any experience or schooling or read articles. Like I'm constantly reading everything I can on the subject, mostly
God.
because I want it to feel good for me.
Hmm.
Circling back to the fact that it's a job for me and it is part of my career, it's also like my biggest mission in life is to get people healthy. So I think that for me, I've gotten to the point where I love it so much. If this wasn't part of my financial energy source,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
would do it for the love of doing it because if you have that accountability with other people,
Mm.
you're going to keep showing up. And Trisha, if you treated it like your job, if you treated exercise, hello, if
That's
you're like,
so true.
I've got a project I have to do before anything else can get done, I have to work on me, then
Well,
maybe,
you know what's so funny is like I'm thinking about this now, and back when I didn't have a job, and I was training for the half marathon, that was my job. That was my like that I mean I was still a mom. I was still all the things that I am now. I just wasn't I didn't have a job. So that was the thing I focused so much energy and attention on and it paid off and I saw results and it was awesome, but then seasons change,
yes, you
and
went back to school and you
I
got
went
your
back.
degree.
I did because my son was older and the opportunity presented itself. So, yeah, I was like late 30s and said, "Yeah, now's a great time to go back to school." It wasn't actually, but it was. Like it was
It was
not the
perfect timing.
ideal. It was the right time for me. But
Yeah.
but that's my whole focus changed. Everything, like I don't go on hour-long walks anymore like I used to. I don't do half the things I used to because I don't have time for that, you
Right.
know?
So, what do you think? I'm asking this because I know you already know the answer. Is that everybody else has the same hours in the day,
True.
and like, of course, now that you're have three jobs and all the same responsibilities, you just have to try to get smarter. Either get up earlier or say goodnight earlier to the family
Ugh,
and say, I have to go to bed, or, it's like it takes a little bit of adjusting.
it does.
Or if you find yourself doing the same things over and over again, that's why meal prep works.
Hmm.
You can cook one meal and at least have it for 2 or 3 meals, even if it's tonight's dinner and tomorrow's lunch. You
That's
gotta,
true.
just do like many, many ways in which you can double your productivity.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so, yeah, welcome
Yeah.
to our therapy session where
Yeah.
Jesse gives advice. It wasn't the plan, but like it just happened.
We can't help ourselves.
Gosh, yeah, no, but like I want to go back to your journey. So when you started, you were just doing like what kind of exercise, like what kind of things, how did you grow into what you are, into
Yeah.
your fitness level now? Like what kind of
Yeah.
steps did you take?
So I think everybody kind of starts their fitness journey with one thing. Maybe for you it was running, for me it was spin class. So after just doing spin for a while, I always was so drawn to cardio. I just
Mm,
wanted to do the bike because I liked it. It was safe. I eventually got certified to be a spin instructor. So it was kind of like my love of it. I really loved the music part of it and I loved controlling the music. So I became the resident DJ. I'm like, if we're going to listen to music, it's going to be good music.
mm-hmm. Well,
I
that's
became,
that's half the fun of it, though. Like
yeah,
that's why you go to the group fitness classes. In my opinion, is half of it for the playlist. If the playlist
playlist.
isn't good, I'm not interested.
I'm that type of person too. Like, it's
Yeah.
got to be good music. I can't listen
Mm-hmm.
to a techno beat over and over again. It's got to
Yeah.
be something I know, like Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, or,
Yeah.
I have to hear tempos. And so spin class became my love. Shortly after that, we had a little rivalry at the YMCA where one spin class thought they were better than the other spin class and they were going to compete in an indoor triathlon. Okay. Anybody that goes back about 15 years at the YMCA, I'll have to tag them in this video. They know the story is true. But the other team was called the Fat Boys. The Fat Boys. Yeah. And they were just like 50-year-old, like big dudes. They were just like, you know, guys that worked but would come to 5 a.m. And then I was part of the 8 a.m. crew. And so we competed against our team name was the Krispy Kremers. We got t-shirts. I've got the pictures to prove it. I'll give you the
God.
pictures, but we had the best time. Our team of triathletes ended up losing and we had to wash the cars of everybody on the other day. Do you
Wow.
remember do you remember the torrential floods that took out the Opryland Hotel?
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
So that same day was the day we had picked to do the car washing. So
Wow.
we show up with a sign in the rain and it said car wash. And we stood there just so we could have checked the box and been like, we offered.
Yeah.
But that was sort of the beginning of my triathlon journey.
God.
And I would say that kind of start putting into place like, oh, maybe I could, since I did an indoor triathlon, maybe I could do an outdoor triathlon. And like skip to the end of the story, like I've done 4 full Ironmans now. And so I've done
Golly. 4.
races that took me 14 or 15 hours to get through.
That's amazing.
But it's such a blast.
But I think it's worth pointing out that it took you time to build into that. You didn't start one day, like, you didn't do a spin class one day and then, like, 6 months later do an Ironman. It took time
For sure.
to build to that. And
Yeah,
I think
it's
we can be impatient, right?
for sure. And I have seen people that start off and say, I want to lose, 50 pounds and
Mm-hmm.
finish an Ironman all in the same year. It's
Ooh,
not impossible. But if you're like me and you're just a regular person, like I promise this to anybody who knows me. I started out overweight. I started out just a regular person who just had a dream to move and
mm-hmm.
to feel like I felt connected in my own skin. And that led to one thing and then a baby step. And then, it's just every year you're picking up a new skill set, whether it's swimming or cycling or doing a 5K, you do something new every year that keeps you excited about it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I have a question. As you were talking, I was thinking, like, you and I are, close enough in age that we grew up in a similar culture. We'll call it like diet culture, exercise culture. We grew up in a similar set up like that. And
Absolutely.
so, what made it different this time? Like for you, what was it like? Because I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong, but maybe like I'm assuming when you were younger, before you yo-yo dieted, you did the fad diets, you know did
Oh,
all that. And what made this time,
yeah.
when you had the two young little kids, what made this time the time that changed everything? What was
Yeah.
it about this time that put you on the trajectory to here?
Well, I think that what some people expect is it to happen quickly, you know? They also don't see that setbacks are part of the journey. So you might hit, you know, one step back, two steps forward, you know, or it may be three steps back, one step forward, and you can't ever get to that same ideal weight you thought you should be at. I think for me, it took getting to a peaceful place because I've certainly been super, super crazy and structured about my food.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me to a place of being thin or lean. And then I realized you can't, that's not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're measuring and weighing every little thing and scraping off a little bit of your sweet potato and, oh, that's too much rice. Like if you're literally down to the science,
Mm-hmm.
that's great for certain sports, certain maybe a photo shoot, but existing in that level of control over your food is not healthy. I
Mm-hmm.
know because I've been there, and then it makes you even more and more obsessed. So for me, the idea was I want freedom. I really want freedom from those thoughts.
Yeah.
If your thoughts and like, when am I gonna eat next? Can I have this bar? I'll have half the bar. And like it's like, what the fuck? Excuse me, can you bleep that out, Trisha?
Yes, we
But
can
like
bleep it out.
if we're weighing and measuring, you know, half of a Quest bar,
Oh.
and it's like I've been there. I can joke about it because you know that you want the goal, you know that you're on a plan,
Mm.
but that's not sustainable. Then on the other side of it, when you're going through some things in life, like my dad passing away,
Yeah.
I just couldn't even be concerned with whatever I wanted to eat because I was mostly sick to my stomach all the time. So
Yeah.
then you're just like, well, what's the one thing I can eat? Maybe a nacho, you know, and
Yeah,
you
you're
find
just kind
yourself
of
eating
eating to
nachos.
survive, and like whatever, like you're not really even thinking about food, like the health of it. You're just like, I know I need to eat something. What is the
Yeah.
thing? Like, yeah, no, I get
And
that.
so I think those are the seasons that we'll continue to talk about on our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, getting from here to here, or
Mm-hmm.
however you want to look at it. Maybe it's a lateral movement, but getting to this point in my life where I've been doing this health thing for 17 years. I've been a teacher for probably 15 of those 17 years, some sort of
Wow.
fitness instruction.
Yeah.
You realize that like when you see a newbie come into the game and they're like, I want to lose 40 pounds this month. And you're like, huh? You know? So I think the more separated I get from diet culture,
Mm.
the more I separate myself from being obsessed with food.
Mm-hmm.
No, here in this space, when you're with me, we're going to eat what's either provided or what we're hungry for or what's delicious. But you control portions to where we're not overeating or feeling sick up to
Right.
our stomach after a meal.
Yeah.
You do more intuitive eating and just, you know, ramp up your steps. If you want something that's more delicious, well, budget for that in your lifestyle because you can't eat cake every day, nor can you run a half marathon every day. You have to
Right.
balance that out.
Yeah. And not every season are you going to be able, for whatever reason, to act like you're training for a half marathon or a triathlon or a weightlifting competition, whatever. Like, you're not always going to be in that mindset. You're just not, because, like you said, life happens. And I think it would be a really good episode if we talked about like grief, like the grieving process and how we have navigated through that in our health journeys, because you lost your dad, I lost my brother, and I lost him early in my like healthy journey process. So I had a different experience because of where I was at the time, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and the outlet that worked for me at the time. And I think we all kind of adjust to what is working for us then, and to have the grace for where we are, you know.
Mm.
I think that's a whole conversation. I don't think we talk about grief, the grieving process, well as a culture anyway.
Right.
But
Let's talk about it sometime because
I
it's
don't
such
think,
a thing. It's such a thing that we could spend an episode on. So for sure, put that
yeah,
on the list.
because it involves so much about our physical health and our mental health, because it shakes up so much. And I think physical and mental health are super linked. We all know that. We know that. But like, when you're going through something traumatic like that, I don't think we talk well enough a lot about the importance of grieving well and what grieving well looks like. I just don't think we talk about that enough,
Of course we
honestly.
don't. Of course we don't.
Because it's uncomfortable, and I know that. But like, I would love to have that conversation, to welcome people to having that discussion more openly, because
Absolutely.
I
I can
think
definitely
that's,
contribute to
yeah,
that conversation. Also, we've got definitely some great therapists that would love to be on a podcast with us and chat about some of those subjects that are like,
that would be fascinating. Like,
yeah, I can.
I would love, I think I would be interested. And so I know if I'm interested, whoever is watching or listening, please let us know in the comments of whatever platform you're viewing or hearing this on, what topics you'd like to hear, what conversations you think would be interesting to dive into, because we are both at this point in our lives where we're not going to sugarcoat. We're going to be very honest with, to a point. I mean, you're not going to hear the super personal nitty gritty details of my everyday, and I feel like you're the same, right, Jesse? Like, you're not going to share,
Who
name drop
knows?
people. Like, there's some things that need to stay private, unless there's a paywall, in which case I will. If you're paying me, I might say more. But I'm just saying. But
Oh my
like,
God.
we're at a point where we're just like, we're not trying to fluff, give some fluffy answer. We're Jesse and I are having real conversations between ourselves, and we thought it would be interesting to bring those conversations to other people, to welcome other
Absolutely.
people into it, right?
Absolutely. So I think there's no topic that's off limit. If my folks out there are hearing me, or you find this podcast, we are going through life, we're experiencing things, and
Mm-hmm.
we just really want to learn from each other's experiences. There's always something that connects with me, or I
Mm-hmm.
connect with something Trisha has said. And so I know it's got to be the same for other women of a certain age.
Of a certain age.
So we will definitely look forward to, the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have so much. I don't want to say wisdom, because I don't want to act like I know things, but I've experienced things, and you've experienced things too, and
Sure.
and so I think just having conversations, being vulnerable to a point, like, hopefully I don't cry on this podcast. That would be embarrassing. I don't want to. Again, unless you're paying me. If we start a paywall, I will cry behind that paywall. There's a lot of things I'll do behind a paywall. What does that say about
Don't
me?
tempt us. Do not tempt us.
Except maybe do, because we will gladly take your money. Anyway, I think that's a really fun way to wrap up this first episode.
Yes.
It's really funny because I think this episode went in a totally different direction than the lost episode that will never be recovered. But I think this is a really good conversation, and this is clearly the one that is meant to go out. You know what I
Yeah, for
mean?
sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Well, thank you for hosting the call today, Trisha, and to my audience that's tuning in. We're going to continue to get more candid.
Hmm.
We're going to, fine tune and give you guys the answers you want, and conversations that are meaningful to us, because
Yeah.
as you can tell, we're if we're not enjoying the topic and we don't keep it real, what's the point?
And there will be more laughs along the way. It's not all going to be serious, like super heavy duty stuff, but like, life is a balance of the light and the dark, and the funny and the serious. And that's what life is, and that's what our podcast is going to be. Our podcast is literally like a phone call between me and Jesse. That's kind of what we had envisioned.
We
And
should start taping our phone calls, we said.
we that's exactly how it came up. And we want to welcome you guys into this, and we hope you continue to join us for future episodes. And we're excited to see where this goes and what we can learn about being strong in every season. Did you see what I did there?
Yeah.
I did it.
No. Thank you, Trisha, for having me.
Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.